Now, this is a very daunting looking mess of wires. It is not a big deal, and everything is very plug and play. Hey, welcome to GT Canada. Today we're going to show you how to install an aftermarket Android Auto enabled stereo system in your Mercedes ML550 specifically, but this will work on any W164 or X164 Mercedes, and it's a very similar install for any of the early 2000 Mercedes, whether it's a car, SUV, it doesn't matter. It's a very similar setup. All the links for what I use in this video are in the description down below, so you can buy this exact stereo and all of the equipment that I used for this install, and I also will include other equipment, other stereos that you can buy if you're not feeling the factory style one, because there are other options out there. They will all function the same and the install will be the same, just the form factor will change. So join me for this install. I'm going to walk you through all of it so you can see exactly what you got to do. Here I am with the stereo out. You can see it's powered on and I've got a mess of wires here. Now, this is going to seem very daunting, but there are a few key indicators or a few key factors that you need to consider with this install. The first one is this. This is MOST PC-ML, and this is a fiber optic adapter. So I've taken the orange fiber optic cable that would have been in this stereo, and I have put it into this box. Now this box only has 3 wires on it. A black one, well, I lied. It's got a black, a red, and a yellow. So black is ground, red is switched power, and yellow is constant power. The hookup of that is very, very easy. The red must go to this accessory wire on the stereo though. And the reason for that is this actually tells the stereo to turn on, and it does that by turning on the accessory wire, and it finds that out by the fiber optic network telling it to turn on. There's also an auxiliary in, right and left, and that just hooks up to the line out from the stereo. So all the sound is coming through here. We are not going to hook up any speaker wires to this device. The other thing is, it did come with this power adapter, which is direct plug and play. So when you plug that in, it comes with the adapter here that it's the CAN bus adapter, so that the steering wheel buttons will all work with this radio. So it's very, very plug and play. The only other piece that you're going to need is for, I'm going to try and get these out here, these FM radio antennas. So there is a total of 3 of these, a yellow, a blue, and a black. Now I've got an adapter. I'm going to put up on the screen the adapter that I've got. You can check the link in the description for the actual adapter. But this adapter just takes a regular FM antenna and converts it to one of these plugs. And I'm using the black one, and then I'm powering it off of the amp connector. And the only other thing you need to do is on the stereo, it actually has a antenna wire that goes out to this adapter, which has to give a signal out to power up the radio, the FM antenna, which these go to. If you do not have that wire, this one right here, an antenna wire here going through to here, it will not power up your antenna, and this will be very crappy reception. The other thing to know is this will also, by connecting up to this, it sends a 12-volt signal down the wire on here, which also assists with powering that antenna. So you can get a FM antenna that you can just install locally, which will allow you to bypass all that, which I still might do because the reception is not perfect. The other thing is the GPS receiver. This came with a GPS receiver. It installs up here. So this just pops off and it goes underneath there. The wire is right, I don't know if you can see it. The wire is right there. And all you do to get that wire, I'm gonna go there, now you can see a little better. All you do to get that wire is you just slide it kind of up to the side here, and then it'll just fall straight down inside here, down into here. You don't need to fish it down, you don't need to do anything. You just pull that wire straight down. And then I wired up the microphone, which is right here. And all I did for that, this came with a plastic sparger, and that's what it's called. I'll show you in a minute, those I'll put up on the screen. But all I did was use that sparger. There's actually a seam right here. So I used the sparger to shove the wire for the mic all up in there, and then it just comes out right here. So I've got the microphone hooked up as well. So now I'm going to slide the stereo all into position so you can see it installed, and I'll walk you through some of the functions of it and how I got to this step here. Now, this is a very daunting looking mess of wires. It is not a big deal, and everything is very plug and play. As far as installs go, this is one of the easiest stereo installs you will ever do. I've done a lot of stereo installs, and this here is very, very easy. As long as you just start by plugging things in one at a time, you can't screw it up. Watch this video and you'll know everything's good. The only other top secret tip that I'm going to give you is, I gotta find it here, hold on. On the back of the adapter, there was one that looked just like this. Now this plugged into the factory adapter right there. Actually, it might have been right there. And what that's for is the backup camera. So all I did, the white wire on here is the positive wire, the middle wire to your RCA plug, and the black wire is the black. And you do not need any special adapters. You just splice it in. All I did was strip it and then splice it and tape it, and then plug that into the camera input, and I will show you that working in a second. But no adapter needed. It just wires straight up and splices straight in, and it will work right out of the gate if you have a factory camera. So that's for factory cameras. You can, if you don't have a factory camera, you can run a new camera to the back and wire that into that port as well. So as I'm shoving it in, all I'm doing is putting all the wires down the back so that this can slide in without having any hindrance. And then, just like that, the stereo's in. And then there's these little tabs here that all you gotta do is lift these up and it locks the stereo in place. So I'm gonna go like that and then tighten it. This is a T20 Torx head socket. So I'm gonna do that. And then on this one, I got a little aggressive with it and tightened it too far, so it broke. So what I have to do is lift it up and then just thread it in, and it holds still. There. And that's it. The stereo's in. All the wiring, or most of the wiring, is down here out of the way. You can see it just dangles there. And there's lots of space in behind here for it to just do its thing there. So once that's all done, then you just take this and clip it on. So mine shoves up a little bit in there and then goes like that, and then it just clips. And that's it. Make sure that still opens, and it does. Now I've got two wires coming out the bottom here. I've got this one, which is for the CarPlay, and I've got this one, which is just the USB adapter. So if I wanted to plug in a USB stick or a peripheral or something, it would plug into there. So I'm just leaving that dangling there. And then this guy, I'm just leaving dangling off to the side there so that we can plug in our iPhone for CarPlay and all of that. So this is a shot of the stereo. Now I'm using a aftermarket launcher on here, where you can customize it to do what you want. You don't have to use a custom launcher, but it does help to customize your experience. So here's a shot of the whole thing. It's a very factory looking stereo. Now there are other stereos that don't have these buttons here, but I wanted one that felt more factory. There is a really neat looking one, which I will link in the description, that has a much bigger display. It takes up this whole screen size, but it makes it look more like a Tesla style with this giant tablet screen on the thing. But I wanted to stick with more of a factory looking stereo. So I've still got the volume control, which was important. I've got the radio buttons, the memory functions. I've got quick buttons for radio, menu, navigation, all that. This one's called Car Launcher Free, and I've got Car Web Guru and Launcher 3 is the default one. So this is the one I'm trying right now. I like it the best so far. So I gotta turn the radio down so that you can't hear it, otherwise YouTube will demonetize me. But now I can go over here. So you see it says I'm on M6, which is 106.1. And if I push this button, just switched it to widescreen so you can see. So I'm still at M106 and you can see there. Then I can push this button here and it will actually cycle through the different memory positions. So that works. The volume up and down, you can see those work. And I also just tested the phone answer and hang up buttons also work. So all of the factory buttons up here work. The only thing you lose is on here where it used to say nav and it'd give you northwest, southwest, east, whatever. It does not give me that reading anymore from the stereo. So you do lose that functionality, but everything else still works exactly how you would hope that it would. You've got a full stereo, you've got navigation, which you can pull up with that GPS antenna that's running up there. You do have to have Wi-Fi enabled, so you have to share the Wi-Fi off of your cell phone or get a 3G or a 4G SIM stick, but otherwise it does work. And this will play everything too. So you can play media on here, you can install headrest TVs in the back and output whatever's on here to those TVs. It also has a video in. Oh, and I promised you the camera. So here, I'm gonna put it in reverse. Here's the camera now. One really cool thing that this added, the factory one had these lines, but when you turned the steering wheel, the lines did not move. And now they do, you see that? So there, I've turned the steering wheel and the lines move with the steering wheel. So that's an extra feature that I was not expecting, but I definitely appreciate having that. It's just one more cool touch that makes this car into the now. And so I can shut it off. So that is the factory backup camera. So again, I will have all of the links for this radio and the fiber optic adapter, which I needed for this install. So I knew I needed it because I've got the Harmon Kardon speakers. And when I pulled the stereo out, oh yeah, it also has this. You see I opened my door? Never used to do that before. Anyway, so I knew that I already had the fiber optic. I replaced this stereo because my old stereo was starting to get really flaky and was not working correctly. So it was stuck on the Mercedes boot logo. And if I smacked it here, eventually it would come back on, but I troubleshot the whole system and decided that the stereo itself was faulty. So this setup here, you can do for under $500, or you can get a stereo, a used one, for about the same price. So why not increase your functionality with this? And that's all it takes to install your Android auto-enabled stereo system. Again, all the links are in the description for everything we used. If you like this stereo, click the link and you can get one and install it in your own car. If you like the different style ones, I will link those ones too, so you can check those out. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check some of the other videos out over here. We've got a lot of great content in our back library. We hope to see you again, but until next time, have a great day.